That's the whole point of America, though, to me, is that we have this freedom, but with freedom comes responsibility. So unless you want to give up rights, you have to be vigilant and take care of yourself.
Welcome to Upticks with Jake Falcon, founder and CEO of Falcon Wealth Advisors. In this podcast, we help high net worth individuals overcome financial complexities. We do this by enhancing financial literacy and discussing topics in a language free from industry jargon. Join us as we help explain exactly what having a solid financial plan means, as Jake draws from years of experience in helping hundreds of individuals get financially organized and focused on their goals. We hope you find Upticks educational, entertaining, and shareable. Now, on to the show.
Welcome back to Upticks with Jake and Cory. Cory, welcome back to the show.
Hello, Jake. Thank you for having me back on the show.
All right, Cory, by the time this gets aired, we will be well into week 1 of the NFL season. And I want to hear, this is episode 313, Palindrome episode. I want to hear your Chiefs record prediction. Let's hear it. They play 17 games. 17 games or 18 games?
They play 17 games.
17 games. They changed that not too long ago.
Right? Yes.
17 games. What's the Chiefs record going to be? Let's hear it.
12-4.
That's the 16.
That is 16.
That's been 16 forever. So 17, Cory.
That's right. Let's go 13-4. How about you?
All right, I'll go 14-3. All right, so remember this episode 313. Call us out. Now, this is a good point. This is a good point for our listeners. No one can predict the future. So that, again, this is a fun game Cory and I are playing. But don't listen to people when they tell you the stock market's going to go up or down or who's going to win the election, because you know what? They don't know either. Just like we don't know what the Chiefs' record's going to be. How about that one, Cory?
That's right.
All right, good. You got anything new before we dive into today's episode? I got a couple of things I want to talk about, but you got anything new you want to share with our listeners?
I'm playing a new game, Jake, called Padel tonight, actually, which is a European racket sport. I'll report back more next week.
Okay, so is it newer than pickleball or is this older than pickleball? Do you know?
The way that I understand it, it is an older game. It's newer in the United States.
Okay, so I just get a little, challenging if someone is trying to branch off of pickleball and make money. So I'm glad to hear that it's older than pickleball.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? People get
exactly
gimmicky. People get gimmicky and they try to make
a top golf of pickleball.
Yeah, sub sports of sports, to try to make money. So I'm glad to hear it's older.
Yeah, I think it's a completely different racket sport.
And it's called Padel?
Yep. I think I'm saying that right.
Padel? All right.
I think so.
All right, well, good luck.
I'll have more next week.
Don't forget, stretch and drink water.
You got it. What else did you want to talk about today?
I want to talk about Falcon Wealth Advisors team structure. I know I've talked about this before on this show, but I wanted to roll it out there a little differently just for our audience and for our clients to understand what they're getting when they sign up to become part of the client community at Falcon Wealth Advisors. When you sign up to work with Falcon Wealth Advisors, you're not just getting Cory, you're not just getting Jake, you're actually getting 5 groups now, Cory. So group number 1 is our operations group. They are the foundation, the fundamentals of our practice. And they are there to help certainly onboard new clients. So when a new client signs up, they generate all the paperwork. They help with transfers, rollovers, all of that stuff. And then it's important for clients to understand, as an ongoing part of their relationship, that team also serves as their account managers. So any distributions, questions on statements, online access, anything to do with daily account maintenance, that's what that group of professionals does. They do a great job. Of course, we train them, we hired them. Samantha oversees them, and they do a fantastic job. So credit to our operations group in there. Then it goes into our investment manager group. Both these groups are very technical oriented, right? Our investment manager group, they are charged with overseeing the day-to-day investments of our client accounts. So all of our client accounts, we use technology to alert them. But if they need to go rebalance, make a trade, a bond matures, a dividend gets paid out, cash needs to get invested, whatever, they are monitoring all of our clients' portfolios every single day, they're looking at the market, they're rebalancing, they're helping make good investment decisions that, of course, are aligned with our clients' financial plan. So good job there, investment management group. That's group number 2. Group number 3 is our planning group. So now this is when we're getting into a little bit of the relationship management, Cory, and the technical side. So we've got 5 financial planners in that group. They meet with all of our clients. They do the day-to-day review meetings. So again, they want to look at tax planning, retirement planning, financial planning. They'll also go over investment return and projections. They do a great job of that. And they are actually taking the large bulk of our review meetings now. Most all of our clients are meeting with our financial planners. Again, we have trained these professionals. They do a great job, and we're happy to have them on our team as well. Then more into branding and about our firm is communications. Luke heads up that group. He does a great job with getting out upticks every week, Cory. Credit to Luke.
That's right.
For our audience, if you're listening to this or watching this and you're not on our email subscription list, I would encourage you to email Luke at falconwealthadvisors.com because there's more that goes into Upticks, our newsletter. So again, we do have our podcast, right? But that's only one small piece of it. Actually, every group does a mini blog every week that is highlighting different aspects of their piece of the wealth management picture. So again, we include much more in that email newsletter than we do in Upticks, and all of our groups are contributing. So Luke does a great job with Lindsay on communicating that. They also help introduce new clients to the firm through Lindsay's efforts of outreach to people on different platforms. And then the last group, Cory, again, is you and I, the wealth advisors, and Kevin. We are largely responsible for relationship management. What that means is making sure that we have a clear understanding of why money is important to our clients, what our clients are value in a wealth advisor. We're making sure that we are able to handle complex questions as they come up. I've been doing this for 18 years. What year is this for you?
14.
14, so 32 years in combined experience. And again, Kevin just recently joined us. We're also charged with growing the practice. Again, introducing new clients to our company. And that's what we're here to do, manage the relationships, get social with our clients, bring on new clients to our company, produce great content, and just be out there overseeing and managing the larger picture. Cory, did I miss anything?
I think you did a really great job there, Jake. I like your recap, and I'm glad you brought this up because I certainly know that I am proud, Jake, of the team that we've built and the company that we're continuing to build, and the clients that place their trust in us is really what drives us every day. But it's great for you to highlight that because we've changed a lot of things over the years as we've grown, and we expect to continue to improve the services and the offering for our clients. So things will continue to adjust along the way, right? But you've covered it well.
Well, thank you, Cory. And yeah, that's a very good point that you make is that, again, we don't want this to be the Jake and Cory show, even though that's what Upticks is.
That is what Upticks is. That's right.
We've carved out 30 minutes for, Cory. But no,
right.
On a serious note, for our clients, we want them to understand that we are surrounding ourselves with a team of professionals so that they don't have to worry, oh my gosh, I hope Cory's dotted all the I's. I hope he's crossed all the T's. My whole financial future is in Cory's hands. Even though, Cory, I think you do a great job, I think I do a great job, it would be silly for anybody to trust their entire financial future in one person. I don't care who the person is, hands. So again, we want to continue to upgrade our offer to our clients. We want to continue to develop our team and train and develop them and grow the team so that ultimately the end experience is better than what you and I could do for our clients on our own. And that's really why we keep building out Falcon Wealth Advisors, is to build a better offer. That's what we're trying to do. If we were stuck 14 years ago into what you and I used to do things, I think, again, we did a good job, but I would argue our offer is so much better than it was 14 years ago, right? Not only are you and I better advisors just because we have more experience, we've also surrounded ourselves with people that can really get into the weeds of financial planning and investment management. And so they are dedicated to doing that on a daily basis, where it's very difficult for one person to be all things to their clients.
That's exactly right. And I think if we did it the same way we did 14 or 15 years ago, Jake, we might not even have our own practice. We might still be employees at a big firm.
Yeah, which is nothing wrong with that. Again, there's nothing wrong with our former company that we worked at. There's nothing wrong with that. We just wanted to build out an offer that we thought made sense to us and our clients. And that's what we're doing.
Exactly.
That's what we're excited to do. Good. In Hightower, the registered investment advisor, that helps us with all of the back office support, they are allowing us to do that. And so credit to them for helping us achieve our vision of what we think our clients need and our clients want. And so thank you to Hightower for your back office support. All right, real quick, again, thank you to our subscribers as well. Our subscriber count continues to grow. Please like and share our content. Give it a thumbs up, 5-star review. All of that is much appreciated. We are recording Upticks today to enhance financial literacy. So again, the best way to do that is so more people can see our episode. All right, Cory, take us away.
Play ball. All right. First, Jake, this article, I wanted to bring this up on a future show, but you beat me to it this week. So good work there. When interest rates go down, the hucksters spring up.
This is crazy. You read this article?
I did.
Wow. This is a real thing. So a wealth management company was out there touting, Cory, that they could get people 17% on their money. 17%. And they were advertising guarantees, which is a bad word, the FDIC. This is gross and a reminder for people to not believe everything they see or hear. Check the background of anyone who is advising you on your money. It found the author of the article is the one that pried in and asked these firms or companies, whatever they are, what they do and how they're able to do this. And it found out that a lot of these people that were running these companies had very sketchy pasts. I think one guy, Cory, was even barred from the industry. And that is, again, gross, disgusting. And you know what's sad is happening every day out there. And so, again, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Don't believe it. So I think there's greed on two levels. One, there's greed in the hucksters, right? The people that are producing the fraud. But there's got to be greed on the individual. If you are that greedy where you want to go put your money somewhere that's claiming they can make you 17%, you have to understand that you are trying to chase some hot fad that is probably illegal. So again, don't do it. Cory, you have any thoughts on this?
This is an article I would encourage people to read and take some interest in it, because we're talking about it here, Jake, and you've covered it. But I think, it really highlights in there some of the details of you're talking about. Because when I hear you say, Jake, this is gross, it's negligent, I know what you mean. But if I read this article, I definitely know what you mean. And I think that's part of the reason we talk about this stuff on the show here.
That's good. So it's in the Wall Street Journal. When rates go down, the hucksters spring up. Google that. Check it out. It's crazy, crazy bad. I hate to see it, but one of the reasons for Upticks is to educate people. So again, check the background of who you're trusting your money with. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Again, just do your due diligence. Don't get caught up in the greed or fads. It's not good. All right, good, Cory. Let's go on to the next one. Cory, the only goal that matters.
This is from our friend, Jake Carl Richards. I'm just going to read this real quick. This was a short blog post, but it ties in very nicely to what you just talked about. It says, greetings. We're terrible at knowing what we actually want. You know the drill. Everyone's talking about municipal bonds, so you think you should buy them too. But here's the truth. No, nothing anyone else wants has anything to do with you. The only goal that matters is yours. And then I made a note, Jake, this is really good. It's because I do think this is more important than ever for people when you're thinking about your financial plan and your portfolio and what your goal is. And that, I think, Jake, to your point from the prior article, when people end up taking unnecessary risks or people end up greedy, it's because they might not be clear about what their goals really are and what they're trying to accomplish. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think people treat investing like a horse race. I think they just try to get the most rate of return and they don't know what they're really doing. Again, it's about a goal. It's like if you're going to go to St. Louis, you're not going to just go and drive as fast as your car will go.
Right.
That'd be horrible. That'd be very reckless, right?
Right. Maybe I would make it, but it would be dangerous. It would be dangerous.
You could also crash or get a ticket or hurt someone or hurt yourself.
Exactly.
So again, with investing, it's the same way. What matters is your goal, your financial plan. And you can't really compare that to your neighbors because everybody's is different. That's what's fun about our job. We have over 800 clients. And while some of the plans may look similar, I would argue probably it's just like humans. There's not going to be identical. Even twins have some sort of difference,
That's right.
You got to understand that your plan and your goals are for you. You should work with your trusted wealth advisor who's acting in a fiduciary capacity. Make sure they're doing that. And that's what matters. Good. I like it, Cory. It's a good point and can't be said enough. I think Carl does a great job with his messaging, and it's a very good point.
All right, Jake. The 2024 Milliman Retiree Health Cost Index.
Have you heard of this? I don't even know where I found this. Have you heard of this?
Familiar with it. Haven't read this. Familiar with the name of the index, I should say, Jake, is what I really mean. So go on.
Yeah, it's a pretty thorough. So again, another something you probably Google out there, Milliman, Milliman. And they did in my opinion, a very thorough study done claiming healthcare costs for a retiree can range anywhere from $100,000 to $300,000 over their lifetime. Now, to me, their study or their article felt a little one-sided because it felt like they were kind of trying to say Medicare Advantage versus Medigap, and I don't even really. After I felt like it was a little pitchy, I stopped paying too much attention to what they were saying because it felt a little one-sided. So my takeaway, though, is to look at your health situation every year and work with your financial planner or your healthcare agent to see what works best for you and your family. This is not something that should be ignored, and you can't set it and forget it, right? It's not like it's a one-time decision. It's like, oh, I already figured out my Medicare, Cory. I don't need to talk about it again. I don't think that's, at least lightly every year, if not a deeper dive every few years. But you got to look at your drug plans, your health history, what you have coming up. You got to look at all that because it is confusing, but there are different roads you can take. And it can mean thousands of dollars in difference just by choosing the right plan, believe it or not. So it is important that it gets reviewed, and we have contacts that we certainly can introduce our clients to. We don't really get into the healthcare because it gets a whole nother agency. We will factor it into your budget and your financial plan, and we'll talk about it and we'll introduce people, but you really need to review that, in my opinion, every year. I mean, if you're retired, it's an important expense. A lot of people don't like paying it. So definitely it's something that should just be reviewed at least once a year. What do you think about it?
I agree completely. And we have just talked, I think it was last week, maybe it was 2 weeks ago on this show, Jake, about some of the changes to Medicare next year. We bring these things up and talk about it on the show because we ultimately want anybody watching and listening to understand that it's something that's good and helpful to reevaluate in the context of your plan, because it's going to change, but we don't know what it's going to look like for the next 20 or 30 years. And frankly, I don't think this article does either, right? They're just looking at a broad swath of data, but it really comes down to you, right? And your goal, like we just talked about.
Yeah, and you can't just do what your neighbor does either, right? So you got to, again, it comes down to you and your plan and your goals and your cash flow and your health needs. You got to look at all that stuff. So it's important. All right, good. Let's go on to the next one here, Cory.
Yep.
The American dream feels out of reach for most. That sounds.
How does that sound, Jake, when you read that
I don't
headline?
like it.
I know. So this caught my attention, I will admit. But let me share a few things from this article and what I want to talk about here today, Jake. So there was a poll that the Wall Street Journal did of around 1,500 people, and it said that the desire for the, quote, American dream is still there. Owning a home, having a family, looking forward to a comfortable retirement. Bear in mind, only 1,500 people were part of this poll, but the results showed a growing gap between people's wishes and their expectations. And one of the things that was interesting here, Jake, 89% of people that took this poll said that homeownership is important to their vision of the future, but only 10% of them said that it's easy or somewhat easy to achieve. Financial security, 96% of people said that it's important. Only 9% of people said that it was easy to achieve. And a comfortable retirement, 95% of people, Jake, said it's important, but only 8% said that it is easy or somewhat easy to achieve. So I understand the way that people feel. And I understand in a lot of situations why people feel the way that they do. My takeaway from this article, though, was, okay, so what? What is someone ultimately going to do about it? Because, Jake, there was somebody in their 30s who was quoted in this article. And they said, for me, the American dream feels further away than it's ever been. I worry about when I'm 50 or 60, and if nothing changes, I'm going to be totally screwed. It feels like my parents' generation has ruined it for us, and it's such a stark case of the haves and the have-nots. What did the post that we just talked about say? The only goal that matters is yours.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody this morning, I think, that a lot of people, and this isn't to pick on anybody, but a lot of people think that a lot of these things will just take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I put, the laughter came in because I think that every generation blames the generation before them. Right? That's what's funny
Agreed.
to me. That it's nobody's fault. That it's just something that you need to pay attention to. Just like that's the whole point of America, though, to me, is that we have this freedom, but with freedom comes responsibility. So unless you want to give up rights, you have to be vigilant and take care of yourself, right? Like, I am free to go eat whatever I want to eat, right? And I know if I eat 4,000 calories a day, Cory, and I don't exercise, I'm probably going to be obese and have issues, right? That's freedom. That's a choice. That's a choice. And so same thing applies, though, to your retirement and home ownership. All of that is a choice. And if you want to buy a home, you've got a budget, you've got a plan, you've got to shop, you've got to understand mortgages and how they work. You got to do your homework. If you want to retire in your 50s or 60s, you've got to save. And again, it's great. It's why you and I have jobs, right? We can help people with this type of planning and give that type of advice. And again, Upticks is not advice. It's for education and entertainment. But the point is, I think that's a very gloomy victim not in a harsh sense. Victim is in like you were choosing to point the finger at somebody else instead of point it inward. And that's harsh for me to say, but my point is, if people want to be free and live in this country, then you've got to be willing to take responsibility for some of these items. Because the opposite is, you could live in a very communist country and the government could take care of you financially, and the government could, in an extreme, they could tell you, Cory, this is what you're going to eat today.
Yep.
And this is where you're going to work, and this is when you're going to retire, and we're going to take care of it. And maybe some people want that. Maybe some people need that. But that's not what is the American way. Do you agree?
I agree completely. And I wonder, though, the quote from the person in the story, granted, I don't have the opportunity to press them on that, but is that what they're advocating for?
Yes.
I think so.
Is. I think particularly younger people, it's weird. I feel young. I feel like I'm 21.
Same.
But I think the younger generations are definitely more socialistic or communistic, if that's the word. Right? I think they are more of that. Don't ask me why, but I think they are.
I'm sure there's a number of reasons.
Well, everything probably cycles, right? So freedom was a big deal, and now freedom's not a big deal, and they want to be taken care of. And I think that will cycle, and things break, and things go.
But freedom
extreme.
is a big deal.
Yes.
It's the big deal. It's the one big deal.
It is a big deal. So if you want to be free, that doesn't come without responsibility. It doesn't come without responsibility. And if you don't want to be free, you should move.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
true.
Go move to China, right?
Plenty of places to go.
They censor you. They tell you. And again, I'm not saying one is good or bad. I think, but if you don't want to have responsibility for your retirement, then you probably should go work. Maybe you can go work for the government, though, right? Go work for the government where you get a pension. And you don't have to be in a U.S. government, right? Then if you get, or the Postal Service, don't they get good pensions?
There's
Teachers.
pension syrups.
There's lots of industries that will help take care of you still in retirement. That's if you worry about that, you should go work in that industry. There's nothing wrong with those industries.
Yes. And the more people, though, I think, Jake, to your point, though, is recognizing taking control of taking care of yourself is the goal here, right? That if you don't want someone else to take care of you, you want to take care of yourself as an adult, maybe that's a little harsh, then go do it. Right?
We sound like some old men. Are we bitter and old?
Yeah, we do sound a little. But again, I read this story and I this was a takeaway from it, Jake. And I think so much of the conversations around the elections, the political climate, all of it is very closely connected and related to what we're talking about today. I had a client, Jake, that asked a question recently in a meeting. You might like this. I'm sure you will. He said, "What do you value more, your freedom or your security?"
Ooh.
And that can be in any context. His question, though, was, what do you value more? And I said, I can't have security without freedom, but that's me. But I wonder if the answer to that question is different for enough people in our country. Maybe that's why we have two different factions of people that seem to be morally opposed with each other on everything. And I don't have all the answers, and I recognize that. And I'm not intending to inflame anything. But my point is, if everyone over here thinks that they're right about everything, and the same is true over here, how do we figure out what's actually right so we can move forward?
I don't think it's possible. I think as long as there's humans, we're going to disagree.
That's right.
That's a really good question, and I'm sure that's not the first time it's been asked. I'm glad your client brought it, because I don't know how I'd answer that. I see both sides of that coin,
of course,
very clearly. Good question. Nice. All right, Cory, we got time for one more.
Yes. All right, Jake. Let's move on. All right, Jake. How we are trying to improve the odds of having a healthy retirement.
All right, Cory. This is an article that's part of an ongoing monthly article in the Wall Street Journal from a former editor and his wife. And I like it when they write. I think I've shared quite a few of their articles on this show. But they bring up some good points in this one on how now that they're in their mid-60s, they play an active role in their health. And the biggest takeaways from the article, it was very clear, is that exercise, diet, and mental health are really their focus. And some of the tips that they gave, and again, these aren't necessarily my tips, but they said switching up your exercises, so making sure you get like weight training and cardio, paying attention to the food that they put in their bodies, and doing activities that promote a healthy mood. And they also mentioned getting checkups proactively. And that was a very common theme also, right? So that they want to just be proactive on their checkups. It's like getting maintenance on your car, right? Like you don't wait until your car breaks down to get the oil changed. You get the oil changed. So I thought that was good. And again, this couple, they seem to be having a good time in retirement. But again, health is very important. So again, exercise, food or diet, mental well-being, and then let's be proactive with those doctor's visits or wellness checkups. I thought that was good for our audience. I want one of my personal purposes out there, Cory, is to inspire others to be healthy and happy, right? I want to serve as an inspiration for health and happiness. And that's why I included this article today. I think that is a more positive, uplifting piece, is that take some initiative. Let's get out and move. Let's exercise. Let's put healthy things in our bodies, and let's work on our mood. You can't just, your mood is also something you need to work on. Right?
I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, mental health is something that can be exercised and practiced, whether you're reading, writing, journaling, having a good relationships or community, all that helps with your mood. That's important. Because think about it. If you exercise all the time and you eat healthy food, but you're always pissed off or you're depressed, you could be depressed and do those things. That's not good. So again, you want to spend energy and time on all those to try to help all those in there.
Yep. And I think the activities that promote a healthy mood are crucial, because I think there's a lot of things that can pull our attention in a million different directions in the world today, Jake, and really what we pay attention to and where we spend that mental energy and the impact that's going to have on our mood is important.
That's good. Well, good. Well, that's a good landing spot for today's show, Cory. You got anything else?
I don't. I think we've covered it.
All right. Well, thank you as always for joining me. And thank you all for tuning in. We hope you have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Upticks. Click the subscribe button to be notified when new episodes become available. Also, be sure to visit our website, falconwealthadvisors.com, and click the Contact Us button if you'd like to meet with Jake and his team.